Dad was a mean son of a bitch, and we kids were terrified of him, especially on nights he hit the VFW and drank till closing. He'd come home and watch those old history shows on the Discovery Channel, before it was all UFOs and ancient aliens. Sometimes he'd watch Animal Planet type shows, but usually it was history. And what really got him was Nazi stuff. We practically grew up with Adolf Hitler as a member of the family. On a bad night, he'd come home mad at his life and would beat up Mom in their bedroom. I'll never forget the way the walls sounded. She almost never cried or screamed because she didn't want us to hear nothing. That's his spelling. But finally, after I don't know how many months or years of this, she started locking the bedroom door on nights he went out drinking. So those Hitler shows would be on all night, Dad falling asleep in the big armchair. But with the door locked, when he needed a target, it became us. Me and my brother lived in one room, my sister Dixie in another. One night we heard him stumble up the stairs, and after a long time slamming the bedroom door to get at Mom, he turned on me and my brother. We'd never been beaten before, so it came as quite a shock. We couldn't go to school the whole rest of the week because of the bruises. Before you blame Mom for not coming out to save us, you have to understand that by then she was very weak and permanently anxious. She didn't have the strength anymore. But at least he avoided our sister's room, meaning Dad. After that first night, we started locking our door too, and made sure Dixie locked hers. I remember him coming home, slamming our bedroom door, chips of paint falling, us praying the lock would hold. And it did. We heard him at Dixie's door then. We crept over to our door and listened, making a pact that we'd go and help her if he got through her door. Dixie was begging and crying from her bedroom, "No, Daddy, no." We were only 9 and 10 years old, so we couldn't have done much to help, but we were going to try. Fortunately, Dixie's door held too, and he went back downstairs to sleep with Churchill and Stalin. This happened several times until one morning we went downstairs to sneak out for school and found Dad dead in the big old easy chair. A cigarette had burned all the way through to the stuffing of the chair, but fortunately, the fire had not spread much. At times, we even missed Dad. Hard to explain, but him and Ma were what we had. Mostly, it was a relief that he was gone, though. Then one night, a few weeks after the funeral, we were up in bed when we heard the TV on downstairs. The Discovery Channel. History stuff, Blitzkrieg and Battle of the Bulge. Me and my brother looked at each other in horror. First, we checked the bedrooms. Dixie and Mom were each in their rooms. They kept the doors unlocked now. So who was downstairs? Sorry, a little message popped up on my screen. So who was downstairs? At the bottom of the stairs, we could see the old box TV flickering a black and white documentary. The big sofa chair had its back to us. I half expected to see a cigarette smoking in the ashtray, but there wasn't. The only light on the TV, the only light was on the TV, so we couldn't be sure if anyone was actually in the chair. We crept into the room, staying away from the chair. As we came around, I held my breath. A shadow seemed to stir in the chair, and I almost ran. But then a commercial came on in color, and we could clearly see the chair was empty. We turned the TV off and hurried back to bed. The next morning, Mom and Dixie both insisted they had not been watching TV at all. Well, a week later, it happened again. Once more, we went down, scared, and turned it off. Only this time, as we started back up the stairs, a noise made us turn back. Cigarette smoke wafted from the ashtray. There was a dog that barked there, so I'm just going to repeat that. Cigarette smoke wafted up from the ashtray, though there was no butt in the ashtray. And then the TV came on, and then the TV came on all by itself, and bombs fell on London in black and white. We shot up the stairs. Over the next month, once or twice a week, the TV would come on in the night, always the Discovery Channel. Only now we refuse to leave our bedrooms. If Dad wanted to watch TV, let him watch. But we started doing something we hadn't done since Dad died, locking our door. However, just like when he was alive, it wouldn't be enough. A day was bound to come when Dad would be really mad and he was going to want to take it out on someone. We understood that day had arrived when we heard heavy footsteps on the stairs, like those of a man who'd been drinking all day and night. My brother climbed into bed with me, and we pulled the covers over our heads. I know that sounds cliche and stupid. How much can a blanket really protect you? But when you're a kid, nothing can protect you anyway, so a blanket seems about as good as any option. We huddled under the covers as the footsteps stopped before the door. And then the door began to rattle harder and harder, and then banging. The attack on the door became furious. Me and my brother cried and clutched each other, and it became suddenly quiet. We stifled our cries, hoping we couldn't be heard. At first, I could barely hear anything over my thumping heart. However, in the dead silence, we heard something absolutely horrifying: the sound of the lock on the door turning. I couldn't breathe. My brother whimpered. I smelled urine and felt a puddle of wetness. And then we heard the door opening. Heavy footsteps in the room, but not coming towards the bed. Not yet. I heard something clatter by the desk. This was where we kept our baseball bats. He, or it, was grabbing a bat. Our cries mixed with gasps for air. The footsteps slowly edged closer to the bed. They stopped beside the bed. We could feel the rage, an inhuman rage. If that was Dad, there was no part of him left that felt any love. This was it. But then we heard a small voice. No, Daddy, no. Dixie. Dixie was only 8. Her voice was meek, but firm. No. I don't know how long we lay there quivering, but at some point, terror wore us out and we went to sleep. When we woke up, one of the bats was lying on the floor beside the bed. Some of our courage returned and we ran from the bedroom to check on Dixie. Her door was locked. We pounded on it. Mom woke up and she started pounding in panic too. Dixie, Dixie. Finally, the door opened and our sleepy sister came out, wondering what the fuss was. We didn't know what to say and waited to see if she said anything about what had happened last night. She didn't. We went down to eat breakfast and she insisted she'd never left her room all night. But the TV never came on again by itself after that.